Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting Saturday evening where UltimateE and Evo India magazine brings you the Ultimate Evo Virtual GP. And this time we're at Silverstone where the PC drivers are taking their PCs, and it's going to be an exciting evening ahead of some unbelievable racing here at the Silverstone circuit. I'm Anjan Ashwath, and I'm joined by Sohil Shah. Sohil, welcome back. It's good to be back on another nice Saturday evening with UltimateE here.
Yeah, always fun to be here. Whether it's in the car or in the com box, there's always banter going around.
There's always something for us to talk about, always something to do, and always something to look forward to. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if we're here today at the Silverstone circuit in the United Kingdom, this iconic circuit where Formula One racing it all began out here. That's some absolute greats, absolute beasts, and absolute monsters that have raced on this circuit through the years. And of course, the Mercedes have been dominating it in the real world for a long time. But we are here with UltimateE and Evo India magazine, where there's some very exciting prizes to be won for our viewers and the guys racing today. Of course, I'm going to take you through the format very quickly and then to the list of cast of characters that we have with us. But if you are watching and if you are watching on YouTube, keep a lookout in the comment section. There are going to be a bunch of questions thrown out to the audience, and if you can answer them right, you will win an Evo India subscription. So that's going to be great for you to go watch. And of course, all the merchandise today is going to be sponsored by Evo India from their 100 kilometer per hour range, their 100 kmph range, and it's got some really great t-shirts, caps, and other stuff that they've got. So it's brilliant that we have them on board today, and it's the second weekend that we're working with them. So it's great to see. So thank you, Evo India. Great to have you guys back here with us. And of course, like I said, we are at Silverstone, so we're going to have two races for us today. The first one is always going to be a 5-lap race. It's going to be a one-shot qualifying followed by a 5-lap race. And then post that, we're going to have a 25% race. And the beauty of that is it's going to be a reverse order of the top 8. So the people finishing in the top 8 in the first race will then we will then reverse that order for the second race, and it's going to be good to watch. So we can't wait to see what's going to be thrown our way, because we do have a list of about 17 very exciting drivers for us here today. A lot of familiar names and a very special guest as well, and I will come there very soon and very shortly. We have Amit Kuti, Yashish Manohar, Saif Prithvi, Krishanu Datta Bhuyan, Prakar Vats, Rajdeep, Utkash, Harshit Reddy, Daniel, Rishabh, Arya Singh, Abhishek Dwaraknath, Mayank, Piyush Gandhi, Nayan Jyoti, Sunny, and our very special guest who's racing with us here today, the ex-Formula 2 driver, Mahaveer Ragunathan. So it's great to have him on board with us as well, driving here at Silverstone. So like I said, we've got these 17 very exciting drivers, 2 races ahead. And Zoel, this track, when you go through Abbey, Farm, the Entry and the Loop, Brooklands, Luffield, Cops, Maggots, Beckett, Chapel, the Hanger straight into Stowe, Vale, Club, these names just oozes class, oozes history, and it's just brilliant racing at the Temple at where it all began.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really fun track to drive on. It's really high speed at the same time. And I think, if I'm not wrong, it has like only 3 or 4 major braking zones. So it's gonna be really fun to watch for overtakes and everything, because obviously DRS plays a very important role on these long straights as well that are present at this track. And we have seen really good action previously, whether it's on the F1 game or the other racing games that we have.
Yep, absolutely, because of the action that we've had going on through every single weekend. I think we're now over about 200 videos on YouTube, which is brilliant. And it's great to see all these guys. We've had such different characters, and ultimately brings you racing from iRacing, from iRacing to Gran Turismo, from PlayStations to the PCs, from F1 2020. There's so many different variations that we bring to you, and from endurance and the formats every single weekend. The guys behind the scenes constantly trying to reinvent themselves, constantly trying to go out and see what we can do different. And of course, that's what's brought us to this point where we're doing the Formula One 2020 game for the first time ever for our PC gamers. And of course, all these guys have some really cool looking sim setups, and a couple of guys here, Sohel, people like Amit Kuti, people like Arya Singh, Mahaveer, Ragunathan, Sunny, Piyush Gandhi. These guys have raced, of course, Krishanu Datta Bhuyan. I'm just going to start calling him KDB from now. It's going to make my life a little easier. But all these guys have raced with us in the past, and it's great to have them back again.
Yeah, I mean, we had KDB, Abhishek Dwarkanath. These guys were there in the first edition of this race of Ultimate E, and this is, I think, the second time they've come back. So it's really good to see some old names back on. I did have some good fights with them as well, and I'm pretty sure they will not disappoint me again sitting in the comp
Yeah,
box.
I don't think they will, because these guys have always taken it to us, and they've always given us some great racing, some great entertainment that we're looking forward to. And of course, we're going to go straight into one-shot qualifying. So when we do go qualifying, I'm going to let you go and unleash yourself and take us through this fabulous, wonderful Silverstone circuit. And of course, we don't have a safety car for the 5-lap race. We're going to have a 5-lap race followed by a 25% race. And we just can't wait to go live, because at this point in time, we've got all these guys, like we said, the 17 guys out here, itching to go, raring to go. And of course, all setups have been pretty much the same, but it all comes down to driver skill. And this track, like Sohil mentioned earlier, it's a power circuit in short. So it's pretty much 70% of the time you're at full throttle, and those corners, so there's such quick shifting corners, especially when you go through Cops, Maggots, Beckett's, Chapel onto the Hanger Straight. It's a power circuit in short. So
yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of opportunities available on these high speed straights and everything. But right now we're just going on to the one-shot qualifying now, and
there's definitely
yeah, we just can't wait to see what comes out of this.
available on these
I don't know, because you've seen these names, like guys like Amit Kuti, Arya Singh, Rajdeep, super quick guys. But of course, we do have a very special guest, Mahaveer Ragunathan. So I'm really looking forward to see what he can do this time out again. And of course, every time we watched him drive, especially when he was with us the last time with the iRacing series and the iRacing Championship, so he actually put on such a great show, and it was really entertaining to watch, because he really took it to the pro sim drivers. Every time we watch him drive,
yeah, he's really surprised us in that series as well. He's really put in the time and effort in practicing everything, and it's really interesting to see how he's put his time and effort into multiple
really surprised us in
categories as well. And
he's really put in
I'm
the
pretty
time
sure
and effort
he's
in
practiced enough for this as well, and he will be showing us a really good performance again.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's always great to have him here. So thank you for joining us, Mahaveer. Great to have you here. Great source of entertainment for us as well here in the Combox when we watch him race. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. But so we're coming back to the track very quickly. What would be your favorite sequence of corners, or favorite corner on this entire track?
I think it'll be the Stowe circuit, Stowe corner actually, right just after Hanger, because that's a really
favorite corner. Yeah, the one where you turn right very fast, and it's a super late apex, right?
Yeah, it's a very fun corner to take, whether you're overtaking or not. But I like it better when we're overtaking over there, because it's just so different compared to the other corners when you're overtaking. It's really easy in the start, and then it becomes very tight later on. That's just what makes it really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So like you said, that goes down to this beautiful the Vale chicane, and then through Club and down the Sarthan straight. Of course, very exciting watch. And so 2 DRS zones on this track as well. The two DRS zones are very effective, like Sohil said, down these fast straights. So we're looking forward to seeing what they can do. So at this point in time, I'm still waiting to. We're just going to be right back on our live stream. We are still waiting to see what we're still waiting for our back-end team to just sort out a few issues, waiting for 1 or 2 guys to get on board with us, and then we will go racing again. Of course, it's going to be one-shot qualifying. If you just joined us, this is Ultimate Evo Virtual GP for the PC racers, and we're here at Silverstone, brought to you by UltimateE and Evo India magazine. And of course, all the merchandise today. Guys, if you're watching, there are going to be some questions in the YouTube comments, and we're going to have Evo India sponsoring some superb merchandise like subscriptions, 100 and their merchandise from their 100 kmph line. Some really great stuff. So go check them out as well. But apart from that, the Evo India has been with us. This is the second weekend we're doing it with them. So great to have them back on board. But at the same time, I'm still wondering in terms of a couple of new names that I haven't come across. Sohil, guys like Daniel, guys like Narain, Jyoti, Sunny. We haven't seen them for a very long time, and I'm wondering, we just might have a dark horse or two within this entire space of us.
Yeah, even when we ran the F1 2020 game for the first time on PSO, we had a new driver in the name of Arjun Arun Shah, who managed to surprise us by taking podiums
Yeah.
in his first couple of races. And this is definitely good to see that there are more and more drivers taking interest and taking participating in these events. And of course, during lockdown, you really can't do much otherwise. But really fun to see that motorsport is trying to get a bit more and more bigger day by day.
Absolutely, because that's exactly what you said, and it's great also that what they're doing for motorsport, of course, on the lower levels, is also streaming live races of Formula 2 on YouTube for everyone to watch, and that's brilliant to see because they didn't do this last year, did they?
No, they didn't do it last year. I believe this is come out of their well-known X1 Racing League, which is I think now known as the Racing League, and uh, we have actually got one of the co-founders with us right now, Aditya Patel. If you would care to join us.
Hi, Sol. Hi, Anjan.
Hey,
Very good evening
yeah,
to
it's
you
good to have
guys.
you back. Adja normally joins me in the com box when Soul is racing, so it's good to have him back as well in the three of us together. First time we're doing this. We haven't done this before, have we? The three of us in the same com box. But
Yeah.
Adja, great to have you on board. And of course, like Soul said, the co-founder of UltimateE, and he's been putting together along with the team behind the scenes. Putting together some superb racing over the last couple of months. Take us through this, Adya, because every other week we've got something new coming up, and it doesn't really come up. It doesn't really start from saying from a Friday morning when we're saying, okay, let's go qualifying, is what we're going to do. But it's a lot of planning that's involved, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been working on this for a while now. Last year, we did an offline gaming competition with X1 Racing, and it was called X1 Esports. So we went to 7, 8 cities. We had competitions in a game called Project Cars 2,
Yep.
and it was great to see the kind of enthusiasm, the kind of participation we had. And of course, when the lockdown happened, we obviously knew that it was a good opportunity to keep the sport alive because motorsport wasn't happening around the world, and a lot of not just race drivers, but youngsters sitting at home. Schools were closed, colleges were closed. A lot of gamers sitting at home. We thought, this is a good time to kind of take our offline racing online.
Yep.
So and the response was great, and we're seeing great response from then to now. And like you mentioned early on, we've got close to 200 videos on YouTube, which means we've been doing a lot of racing. We've been doing PC games, we've been doing PS4 games. We're also doing PUBG, so it's mobile gaming as well. So it's an entire gaming ecosystem. And now we've teamed up with Evo India. I've known the guys from Evo India for a long, long time. I've had a
Yep.
good relationship with as well with them. So when I spoke to Suresh Chandran before this competition started, I said, let's try something that's more involving, more engaging for the audience, for all of you who are watching. We wanted to do something engaging for you guys and the drivers as well. And of course, I know all of you are waiting for the race to start. We're going to start very, very soon. We're just waiting for everyone to join the lobby. And if you know how games work, all the drivers need to join a lobby. As soon as they're in, then we can start racing. And yeah, Sirish was straight away on board with this concept
Yeah.
because instead of having a come and like my picture on Instagram kind of competition, we said come and show us your metal, come and answer questions on the YouTube chat, and actually make it engaging. And that's what's made this entire Ultimate Evo India series exciting.
Absolutely, because that's exactly what we were talking about before we went online. Is that how much content we've managed to produce in the last couple of months, and it's great to see because we've managed to do this sitting at home, and we're not really together in an office space or anything like that. So it's basically it's very simply put that everyone's sitting in their own houses. Of course, we are all dependent on technology, so at the mercy of it at most times, and that's what normally happens. But Atya, at this point in time, we're here at Silverstone, and this time we're doing it with the PC gamers. And we'd mentioned a whole bunch of these guys earlier, cast of characters that we have. Um, I'm just wondering this time around, like I always sort of throw a question to you when Soul's racing and we're on the iRacing platforms and whatnot. But you know a lot of these guys, and you've raced with a lot of these guys as well. But guys like Amit Kuti, Rajdeep, KDB, all of them been around for a really long time, and it's great to see that And it's great to see these guys coming back time and again. So it is, you have created something that's engaging in terms of content.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, guys like Amit, Rajdeep, Krishanu, these guys are avid gamers. They just love their gaming, and they come back time and time again to have a great time, have a blast, and also now it's getting really, really competitive out there in the gaming environment. So
Yep.
when we see these guys come race against each other, it brings in a completely different level of excitement. But I see we're going on track now, and we're going to jump into qualifying. So I think I'm going to leave you two guys to it.
All right, Aditya, great having you back here again. Thank you for joining us and shedding some light on this superb little initiative that you guys have put together.
Thanks, Sanjan. Thanks. Good. Enjoy the race, Sanjan and Soil. We'll be watching on the other side.
Sounds good. All right, guys. So we are here. We've got our issue sorted. Everyone is in. We are waiting now to go qualifying. We're here at Silverstone at Ultimate Evo Virtual GP for the PC racers. It was going to be a one-shot qualifying, then followed by a 5-lap race, and that will be followed by a 25% race, which will be race number 2. And of course, the qualifying format, race number 2, will be a reverse grid of the finishing out of the top 8. So we are going to see a lot of these guys. We're going to see a lot of these guys who finish up in the top, or rather quick guys start from the back in the second race, and brilliant to watch. But Soel, if you can take them through this lap, it would be great to see.
Yes, as you guys can see, we have been following the Williams of Prakhar Watts coming down first corner, second corner. It's pretty fast, pretty flat out. Then breaking it just after 100 for turn three. Very technical section. Very important to get the exit right out of four as well, so that you maximize your top speed at the end of the of the Wellington Straight. And DRS open coming down this. You break just after 100, I believe. Oh, never mind, at 50, and then you break, and then it's very late apex down to Luffield. Pretty much a V kind of a line where you double apex it and you come out as wide as possible for the next straight, heading towards Cops, I believe. And I believe this corner is really easy flat. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's easy flat. There's no doubt about it. But
Yep.
then coming towards Maggots and Beckett's again, really high speed. 280 kilometers per hour, and back onto the hanger straight for the second DRS zone that we have. And again, very important to get the exits right so that you maximize all the speed that is possible. And heading towards the Stoke corner, one of my favorite corners on this track, late braking, mid to late apex, and wide on the exit. And then coming down to the last couple of corners, very important to get the first left-hander right so that you open up the right-hander and maximize out the exit. And that is a lap around Silverstone.
All right, there we go. And you heard it. And as we just finished up, we're looking at Yashish Manohar. Looks like he's put in a stonker of a lap taking pole with KDB in second place, Abhishek Dwaraknath in third, Rajdeep Paul in fourth place, Vix in fifth place, and Mahaveer Ragunathan, who Sohail just followed, who we just followed through this insane little circuit called Silverstone in England, is in fifth, rounding up the top 5. So a great, in sixth place. But so a great starting order from us. And I'm wondering there, what happened to Amit, our usual suspects like Amit Kuti, because he is rather super quick. I wonder where he's finished, because I'm trying to figure out where Amit Kuti has finished. I think he looks like he's all the way down the order. But as it stands right now, Yashish Manohar on pole, KDB in second place, Abhishek Dwaraknath in third, Rajdeep Paul in fourth, Vix in fifth place, Mahaveer Ragunathan in sixth place, Harry in seventh place. Harshad Reddy in 7th place, Big Man Joe Daniel in 8th place, and then Prakar Watson in 9th place, Piyush Gandhi in 10th place, Mayank in 11th place, the Gambler in 12th place, Picker Rick in 13th place, and Captain Fujiwara, who's who's Nayan Jyoti, running up the top 14. But we still got a couple of guys behind, which I'm just waiting for our guys to go through. But we're going to be starting, and of course, 5-lap race, reduced damage. So these guys are going to be very, very careful, because a little bit of damage on the front wings is definitely going to upset the balance of this car, especially when you need that kind of downforce through these high-speed corners. And a pit stop here is going to cost you dearly. But that's what's going to be really, really exciting, Sohail, because we're almost ready to go racing on this 5-lap race around Silverstone, and with Yashish Manohar and Pole, this is looking like a cracker that we're going to be in for.
Yeah, 100%. With Mahaveer Ragunathan also starting in the front half of the field, he's going to be an interesting one to watch as he tries and makes his places up the field. Obviously, more experience than pretty much everyone on this grid here, and he has to show us how his experience matters, and that experience, in my opinion, is a very big factor because I've been against it, and it's not a good thing.
Well, of course, and here we go. So we got 5 laps. 5 laps will illuminate, and then they go off. The checkered flag will, green flag will go, and we go racing. I think a couple of jump starts at the back as well. But a great start by Yashish Manohar up in front. But right behind him, I think we've also right behind him, we've got a couple of guys there behind. And I think Red Bull now is taking the Ferrari, going into turn one. There we go. KDB is all in. KDB and Yashish Manohar fighting with each other as they go in, as they go in through Abbey Farm to the entry and the loop. The entry in the loop. A great little battle for the top two. Abhishek Dwarkanath make up a couple of places in third. Vixen fourth place, dropping down. Rajit Paul in fifth, maintaining as is. And Sunny, Nayan Jyoti now making it up in the sixth place as well. So there's a lot of battles going up and down the grid as we settle on lap number one, going through halfway around this lap. And here we're following the leaders right now. Yashish Manohar now taking back the lead and taking back command of this race. Didn't have a very great start off the line. Rather poor start off the line. But as they go through Brooklyn's Love Fields, they're going to come into this very fast section of Cops, Baggett's, Beckett's Chapel. And down the hangers, he's gone wide. He's gone a little wide there, has he, KDB. But he's right back on his gearbox right now, Yashish Manohar, as they come into this brilliant little section of Baggett's, Beckett's Chapel. And then they get through the hanger straight. It's going to be brilliant to watch. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Mahaveer, I think, has crashed out of this race. So we're just hearing from race control. And Mahaveer Ragunathan is crashing into this race. But the top two right now going into this Stowe corner. Sohail's favorite corner on the track. Yashish now defending for his life because KTB and all over his gearbox as they come into the field chicane and now through club and now down the start finish straight. This is getting really, really feisty up in front, Sohail.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have been really, really on it from lap one. They've already built up 2.5 seconds, pulling away from the rest of the field, and they are just in the league. They're probably the mercs of this race, and they're just pulling away. They don't care what the others are doing, and they are going to fight it out on their own.
Absolutely, because they're in a league of their own at this point in time. As they head down around on the second lap, and still about half a second or 8 tenths now between the two of them. Looks like Yashish is just settling down into that little bit of a rhythm and managed to gap KDB, pulling up about a tenth every other sector. But Vix now in third place. It was a great start by him up in the third place. Rajdeep Paul now in fourth place, and hardly anything in it now. I think there's a little bit of mistake now by Rajdeep Paul. I can see it there behind Abhishek Dwarkanath. In the Renault, his teammate has gone crash on this race. He had a big crash coming out of that corner, but insane little racing now coming up and down because behind them it's super close amongst a lot of these guys right now. So, and I thought that at this point in time they're going to be, I thought that at this point in time we're going to see a lot more carnage, but these guys have managed to hold their ground. And if you look at that, with BRL number 8, who's made 10 places up now, so that's brilliant to see him up in 8th place as well. But the guys up in front at this point in time, so this was madness.
Yeah, they're doing absolutely everything they can to pull away, and they're managing to do it correctly. But touching back to the spin from the Renault, we saw one Renault go wide and the other spin. So I don't know what that was. That was some voodoo happening. But I mean, we really don't know what happened there, and hopefully he can make a good recovery like some of the other drivers who failed to qualify really good have tried to come back up into the points.
Absolutely, because if you're looking at this right now, we're on board right now with Daniel in the Alfa Romeo, and he now has KDB ahead of him. Hardly any 8 tenths in it again between the two of them, but the battle up ahead looks like Yashish Manohar now 1.5 seconds now he's gapped KDB, so he's settled down a little bit of a groove. He's looking like he's enjoying himself out there on this brilliant little circuit. And 3 laps into this race with 2 to go, there's still a lot of racing left. You've got a lot of these guys like KDB making up 13 positions, so he started way down almost at the back of the grid pretty much, making up a huge number of races. Prakar Butts as well, starting much further down in 9th place, now up into 5th place. Rajdeep Paul, we know how good he is out there on the circuit, and we know how quick he is when he gets into his rhythm, and I know he will be hunting Vix very, very soon for that last spot on the podium, because that means a lot to Rajdeep Paul, and he's been great. He's been superb to watch through the last couple of weekends. Every time he's raced with us, so.
Yeah, Rajdeep Paul, he's been with us for a while. He's come on PS4 races as well, and he's come back on PC, and he is showing the similar performance on both platforms. Just shows how platform is not really a differentiator factor, and it's all down to the driver at the end of the day. And he is fighting for P3, potentially for P3, and currently on the penultimate lap, lap number 4, and he's not too far behind, and he should have the RS on the next straight. And if he's smart enough, he should be able to hold him off for the rest of the lap if he manages to take him.
Yeah, but I think he just might be able to because he's managed to mind that gap. I mean, while you were talking, I've been watching the timing screen. Rajdeep Paul, I saw already took 2 tenths out of him in the first sector. So we're still waiting to see if he can. Close that gap, because there we go again. Now half a second now between these two cars. He's getting really, really close, and of course we'll get the help of the DRS as they go down that hanger straight. But at the moment, Rajdeep Paul now. I think, is that a battle now? Yeah, there we go. Is that battle, or is that a back marker? They're just passing a back marker. I got a little excited. I thought he's going to go for that. Ooh, I think that back marker has caused a problem. And Rajdeep Paul has gone straight into him, unfortunately, and lost a little bit of his front wing. And now he's going to go after this. This is exactly what we talked about. He's going to lose so much grip and so much downforce, as you can see, as he went through Maggot's Beckett and Chapel. And there we also have a little battle with Prabhakar Vats now, who's managed to catch up to Rajdeep Paul. So a big mistake by Rajdeep Paul. I think he hit Vinod Gopalasammy, a back marker in the back, and lost a bit of his wing, and you can see how much downforce he's losing. And the Alpha Tauri of Prabhakar Vats as well in the background, making up that one place he's looked. But he again has lost another front wing, and we are on the last lap at the moment with Yashish Manohar leading this race. It looks like we're going to have Yashish Manohar take the checkered flag, but at this point in time, within Rajdeep Paul and Prabhakar Vats, Rajdeep Paul was fighting for third place, and a really unfortunate incident for him, going in the back of back marker, and Prabhakar Vats, closing up behind him, and also going into him, but all bits and pieces of carbon flying all over the track. But on the last lap, looks like Yashish Manohar has held, from pole position all the way through 5 laps. Managed to hold off KDB, who was hustling him in the beginning, almost 2 seconds now ahead of him. So great little racing by him. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have Yashish Manohar now come across the line to win, I think, the first. Not yet come across the line. I got a little excited there, but we're still in. We're going through the fast section of the Maggot's Beckett Chapel, down the hanger straight past this, and then we will see him go through sector 3 of this, go through sector 3 of Silverstone. But following him around now, so it's been a great drive by Yashish Manohar, controlling this race brilliantly from the front. If only in the real world we saw the Ferrari had this kind of pace, it would be great to see. But taking nothing away from Yashish Manohar this time around as he goes through Stowe, through Vale, through the Vale chicane, and now through Club for the last time, wins the first race here in Silverstone, followed by KDB in second place. Brilliant drive by him through everything he had at Yashish Manohar in the beginning, but Yashish just a little too quick. And Vix then in the Alfa Romeo in third place, with Prabhakar Vats making up a couple of places there, making up a huge number of places, starting almost at the back of the grid in 19th place now, up in a 5th place. Rajdeep Paul losing big amounts of time after going into a back marker, unfortunately, and losing his front wing at the worst possible time in 6th place. But of course, we're going to have a couple of penalties that will be imposed, so I'm going to wait to see till the official results come up. But as it stands right now, Big Man Joe then in 7th place, Supreme Leader in 8th place, Freeze in 9th place, Abhishek Dwaraknath in 10th place, Nayan Jyoti in 11th place, Piyush Gandhi in 12th place, The Gambler in 13th place, Pickerick in 14th place, Sunny in 15th place, New Potato in 16th place, Mayank in 17th place, and Vinod Gopalasammy in 18th place. I think Vinod Gopalasammy, unfortunately, you should have seen, as a back marker, should have seen the blue flags coming before Rajdeep went into him. So that's not the best race for him at this point in time, but not the best showing this point in time. But of course, now Soul going into this next race, it's going to be super exciting because the guys who we know are really quick, who've sorted themselves out in the top. Now this is what we're going to look forward to watching. This second race, especially where the top 8 will now start in a reverse grid.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting race to watch. We did see Yashish and KDB having really strong pace, and kudos to Yashish for keeping it consistent, clean, and very mature drive, I would like to say, because the smallest mistake would lead to him losing P1 and falling down to P2. And also, you can see that he's got zero penalties, so that's another thing to be pointed out. And he also gets the fastest lap, so he is definitely going to be one of the favorites in race 2 to be able to make up those places and finish in P1 or at least on the podium spot. But I don't think KDB is going to make it any easy for him.
Yeah, but I don't think KDB is going to make it any easier. Let's go. They're going to be starting right next to each other, and the top 8 now will reverse. So I think we will have the supreme leader on pole, followed by Big Man Joe, who's Daniel, sharing the top 2, sharing the front row of this grid. So it's going to be great to watch because these two guys, we know they were quick in qualifying. We saw them through practice, and they were rather quick there as well. But this time out, we saw Yashish Manohar with, like Sohel said, absolute class, take it to the entire field, and very, very well driven race. But as we also saw, how much that tiny bit of front wing and how much time that a loss of that tiny bit of front wing can actually, how much time you'd actually lose behind other cars, because Rajdeep Paul, we saw make that little bit of mistake, go into a back marker, and then drop down of almost 2 places in 1 lap on the last lap zone.
Yeah, I mean, even the smallest one will make a big difference, and we have seen it before. And the game sometimes makes a smaller thing even a bigger issue. So you might start off with a smaller issue, and the longer race that we have, after the first pit stop, the smallest of your front wing damages could become a bigger one later on. So
Yep.
it's just gonna be really, really interesting to watch now.
Absolutely, because like we've been watching, because now we're gonna have the second race is gonna be a 25% race, almost about 12 to 14 laps. I think about 12 to 14 laps, not if I'm right. That we might just have around the circuit, but we're gonna have the top 8 now starting in that reverse grid. So we're not gonna have a qualifying session, but we're just gonna have the top 8 in a reverse grid, and that's gonna be great to watch. Because all these quick guys now, they kind of sorted themselves out. They showed us their hands at this point in time. They showed us who's quick, who's not, who's got the might, and who's got the right to go down the outside of certain corners. But at that point in time, so we're going to see these guys now come from the back. And I wonder, like the last time we saw it, the last weekend that we had, especially the guys who finished in first place, and started 8th, who didn't manage to make it back up in the top.
Yeah, they were trying their best, and they did struggle with some traffic last time. And this time it's again a different field, different drivers, so everyone's gonna behave a bit differently, like we saw with the blue flag earlier as well. And it's just down to patience, I believe.
Yep, I think absolutely, because that like you said, so that the patience is what's going to make a big difference this time out, because these guys have to be super patient. It is a long race, so you're going to see pit stops this time come into play, and their tire choices in the beginning, starting on the soft, starting on the hards, everything makes such a big difference to their entire race now, so.
Yeah, the pit stops are gonna be really, they have to be really, how do I say this? They'll have to be very strategically placed in terms of when they do it, how they do it. We've seen a lot of drivers in the past start off with the harder compound, go on to the softer compound, and it has sometimes worked, sometimes not worked. So it's just down to the experience that they have on the game, and what they have and have not tested out before. Because if they haven't tested out the strategy, the alternate strategy, then it'll just be a gamble for them if they go for it.
Yeah, because absolutely, because at that point, if it is a gamble, and especially when you have guys actually called the gambler racing with us, who's starting, I think, down in 13th place for this race, it looks like a couple of these guys can use some very different strategies and go around the block. But that being said, it's not going to be the easiest and most straightforward race, because this track and also is supremely abrasive on those soft tires, so they don't last really long, do they? Here, so.
No, I don't think so. I haven't driven this track much on this game, but so I don't really know. But I'm pretty sure that it's a very high tire degradation here, and we might even see some guys. No way. I don't think anybody. I don't think anybody use the hard tire, and if they do, it'll be a surprise to me, because the hard tires are really bad on this game.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can always expect a medium to soft or a soft to medium. I don't think they'll try for anything different.
Yep, absolutely. Because if that's going to be doing, if that's going to be doing, it's going to be great to watch because we're going to have dynamic weather as well. So let's see what the game throws up. Because if it's not going to be dry, if it's going to be wet around this track, it's going to be that's going to be that much more interesting. Because we're almost set to go, ladies and gentlemen. If you just joined us on this beautiful Saturday evening, we're at Ultimate Evo Virtual. We're at the Ultimate Evo Virtual GP, brought to you by UltimateE and the Evo India magazine. Of course, the Evo India magazine being great to us this time out and giving us a whole bunch of merchandise to give you guys. So keep watching our YouTube chat and you'll see a bunch of questions that will pop up. Keep answering them, and you will win some super merchandise from Evo India, from their 100 kmph merchandise range, and some really great stuff to be won as well. And of course, the Evo sponsoring all our prizes this weekend. Great to have them on board. Where we race with the PC guys at Silverstone. But so this time around, we're almost ready to go racing with it. We're almost set to go. We're just waiting for the drivers to ready up. We've set the grid up as well. We're going to have a reverse grid of the top 8 that finished in race number 1 for race number 2, 25% race. Of course, pit stops will come into play, tire strategy, tire management, all of it comes into play. Lots of and some super exciting racing. And last time out, between Yashish Manohar and KDB, we saw how close it got between the two of them for the first 2 spots on the podium. How important downforce, how important keeping your front wing is in this race, because if you lose a little bit, you lose huge amounts of downforce through those super fast sweeping corners on this incredible power circuit. But so this time out now, you've seen these guys race one time out. You know the kind of speed they have. Who's your money on for this one?
I don't know actually. It's been so close between top 2 for the last race, and the amount of incidents that we saw last week coming out, even which did involve the top guys also. Just keeps it so interesting and keeps it so variable. And of course, we have the British weather to rely on to give us probably a wet race. If it's not, I'm gonna be disappointed in British weather.
I wonder if they're gonna throw a wet race away, because that of course will be good to see. But the last time out, we also saw in Austria, especially when they had drying conditions, when the track started drying out, a lot of these guys switched between the wets, the inters, the dries, and eventually the dries did pay off towards the end of the race, and it was great to watch because changing conditions. This game now gives us changing conditions, which is superb for us to do, for us to commentate on and watch a race.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, British weather did disappoint me. So I'm probably not opening this game after this because I really wanted some turn 1 action. One guy probably spinning off at the start and giving us all that action to look at.
It's got bright blue skies right now, but let's see let's just see when we go racing, because we're gonna have these guys are all ready. They're all in the lobby. This is race number 2 for Ultimate Evo Virtual GP for the PC gamers this weekend. Now, of course, we've got a lot of racing left ahead of us. I mean, we've got this last race we have today, which is going to be a 25% race around the Silverstone circuit in the United Kingdom. So, brilliant little track, superb track. In fact, from what we saw in the first time out, be sure we're going to have some really good, exciting racing. Yashish Manohar, KDB, treating us to some absolute battles. Rajdeep Paul making his way up the pack, but unfortunately making a little bit of an error. And dropping back down the order, but we know how quick he is because he's going to have an advantage now, starting in front of these guys like Yashish and KDB. So let's just see if he can bring true pace to this, because we know how quick he is now. So
yeah, obviously we've seen him pretty quick, like I mentioned earlier, even on the PS4. So he'll be starting a bit towards the front of the grid. I think he's starting he's starting P3, so he has a really good opportunity.
We have Supreme Leader then on pole. So now we're gonna have the 5 lights illuminate. We're gonna go.
Okay, so I think we've lost Anjan. I think we've lost Anjan, but we can see that lap 1 is started by out, and there is carnage towards the back of the field. Yashish Mano being involved.
Alright, I'm back. I think you can hear me now. Can you guys hear me? I'm sorry.
Yes,
I think I dropped off for a second. Apologies. Let me pick that straight back up with the Supreme Leader now in first place. But already a 1.3 second gap halfway through the lap now as they go through the loop. As they go through Brooklands and Lovefield. But so this is really interesting to watch, because a lot of these guys now starting on the harder tires up in front, so they're going to go the distance and then come out to the soft tires a little later on. But up in front now, Supreme Leader in first place, Big Man Joe, who's Daniel in second place, Prakar Watson in third place, UK, who's Utkarsh, has made a couple of places up in the fourth place. KDP making 2 places up as well into fifth place. But there we go. Mahaveer Ragunathan, supremely impressive, making up 11 places on the start. Making 11 places on the start up in the 7th place at the moment. With Harry Rocks, with Harry Rocks, who's Harshit Reddy then following him very, very closely, half a second behind in 9th place. And Mayank running up our top 10 at the moment. But as we see the Super Leader out now, he's now being caught very quickly by Big Man Joe, by Daniel, because he had about 1.3 seconds out last time out, and now less than a second between the two of them. And of course, 2 laps in the DRS will come into play. But keep in mind, these cars looking supremely good on these new tracks, and of course, the graphics also making up for it. A couple of guys looks like they've already gone into the pit. So, like Soul said, there was a lot of carnage at the back. You can see a lot of these guys, like Yashish Manohar and Co, dropping down about 6-7 places. So, I wonder what happened to him in the start. He started 8th place and now he's down in the 13th place at the moment. But we know he's quick and he can make that time up as long as he's got no damage at this point in time. But behind him, a lot of the guys then in the pits again. So, 1 lap, absolute carnage. And it looks like it's shaken this entire field up. And Mahaveer now making 11 places up into 7th place and making great grounds as well.
Yeah, he's got a really strong start going. He did DNF pretty quickly in the previous race, and he started P20, and he's already up into P7. So he's got another 12 laps, including this one, to make up 6 more positions if he wants to win, and he's not too far off the leaders.
Absolutely, because the Supreme Leader now, I haven't heard too much of him, but in the Williams, great to see them out in front. Great to see them out in front, but followed now super closely by Daniel in the Alfa Romeo. But Daniel now going to hustle the Supreme Leader for first place, because Daniel's super quick now. And as we come through the Vale chicane into club to start lap number 3, he's gotten so much closer this time around on his gearboxes. See the Supreme Leader in front. There's so much understeer. He's struggling so much with that front end of the castle.
Yeah, we probably must have made a mistake on the setup or something. Oh wait, my bad. It is a fixed setup series, so maybe not liking the setup that much, not suiting to his driving style. A lot of factors go into this because it's a fixed setup race, and it's just all down to the driver to adapt to what the car is like. It's like any other spec racing series.
Yep, absolutely. Because as we say that, right now he's closed up even more as we go in through the entry and the loop into Brooklands and Luffield. He's gotten so much closer. I wonder if he can take him before we hit the Cops Corner through those fast sequences, or if he's going to hold back and wait till the hangar straight, because DRS now will also be active. So a lot of these guys now making up time at this point in time, but they've got to also settle down and manage their tires, so because it's going to be really important for these guys to nurse these tires as long as they can, especially the guys on these red sidewall tires on the softs.
Yeah, definitely. They were kind of helped out by a half lap of virtual safety car, and now it's just down to how long they can take these tires to. Personally, I'd feel lap 5, lap 6 is what I would go for, what I would aim for, just under 50% of the race. And you have to remember that track position is not going to be everything in this race. So if drivers like KDP, who's probably trying to look out,
who's now lining up Prakar Vats for a move for a move around Abbey through farm, but I wonder he's just not going to have enough. Ooh, as he's locked up, that was so close, trying to make that move around the outside, but Prakar Vats in front absolutely slammed the door shut, having none of that, having absolutely none of that. So let's see if we can get him now as they exit the entry and the loop, heading down to Brooklands and Luffield. But there's a whole bunch of moves happening up and down the field right now. But for third place, KDB. This is between Prakar Vats, KDB, and Big Man Joe. So it looks like these 3 guys at this point in time battling it out, and that's going to let Harshit Reddy then. That's going to let Utkarsh then in fourth place catch up these guys, because he's only 2 seconds behind, so nothing in it between the top 3 at the moment as we go through Cops Corner. But this time around, so between Daniel, KDB now making up 2 places, so he's gone up in the second place, and he's now hunting Prakar Vats. You can see how much closer he's gotten to Prakar Vats, and they've got a back marker in front of them, so I hope that back marker can stay out of their way and no one gets involved with it. But the KDB now in his slipstream, in the DRS range, getting closer, looking on the inside, showing him that front tire. And this is a great view we've got from Daniel at the moment, watching the top two battle, and Daniel just sitting back, waiting to see if they make a little bit of a mistake. And you can see Daniel now, because they are fighting, how much closer he's getting to KDB and Prakhar Vats. And these two have never been closer. The top three as we come into lap number 5 across the start finish line. Into Abbey we go for the 5th time around. This is brilliant racing, and he's trying to get him around the outside, around the inside, but KDB just holding back before they get through entry and the loop. And these three soul at this point in time separated by absolutely nothing. And this is the top three, and this is all three of them on the exact same tires. On the soft side, I think KDB there had made a little bit of a mistake. I saw him a huge amount of oversteer that he had coming out of entry in the loop. And it looks like he's lost a position. So at the moment, it looks like Prakhar Vats and Big Man Joe Daniel now taking over this battle. But three of them, so with KDB now, looks like he's gotten back into this as well. But the three of these guys giving us a supreme showing of racing.
Yeah, these guys have been fighting it out really hard, and it's actually good to see that they have given each other enough room and have respected each other and not done silly, stupid, very late die bombs. And it just shows that these guys are mentally strong, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, now heading on the hangar straight, just for the viewers, there's been a glitch on the left hand side of the screen. We do have the Supreme Leader still leading the race, and the battle over here is for second place between Prakhar Vats, Big Man Joe and KDB.
Alright, thanks for that info. So we definitely needed that, because my next question to you would have been, what just happened to Supreme Leader? Because he was leading with about 1 second ahead of the rest of the pack. But as we said, KDB then making this is attempt number 2 on Daniel, and looks like he's made it up into third place, in fact, because Supreme Leader's leading. So let's just leave that out for now. But the two of these guys still battling it out with each other, and Prakhar Vats now on second. So KDB now making it up in third place. But is that KDB who's made a mistake up in front? Oh, this is going past the marker. They're just going past the back marker. Who's at Alpha Tauri? There we go. That's Supreme Leader. There we go. Yeah, that's Supreme Leader right at the back.
There's a Supreme Leader who I think just got disconnected from P1, and I think that's why. So it was not a glitch at the end of the day. It was him leaving the session and
coming back on again and then rejoining. So we've still got the top three within each other, within a second of each other as we go through cops. This supremely fast corner. Look how much closer now KDB is to Prakhar Vats at this point in time. KDB Prakhar Vats. Oh, it's a brilliant move. Did he manage to make that move stick? He did manage to make that move stick around the inside of Maggots and Beckett's and down the hangar straight. He's not going to have the advantage of DRS, but what a move by KDB to take the lead of this race. Of this British Grand Prix. So
I think that was a bit strategic from Prakhar Vats, because the DRS detection point is just after the Maggots, the first left-hander that goes into it, and he got the DRS and he used it down hangar straight and made the move outside of Stowe corner and is back up into the lead of this race, and his strategies.
These three guys, Prakhar Vats, KDB and Daniel, these top three at the moment, absolutely in a league of their own. 2 seconds now ahead of Utkarsh in 4th place, and Streeter in 5th place, Gambler in 6th place, Mayank up in 7th place, but Mahaveer dropped a few places now down in the 10th place because he made up a whole bunch of places. But of course, Mahaveer's also stopped, so that just might play into his hands a little later in the race, because, ladies and gentlemen, we will have pit stops and they will come into play very, very soon. They probably will come into play in a couple of laps at the moment. But these guys on softs, they're probably at the absolute edge of their life right now, so with 7 laps in.
Yeah, with just 6 more laps to go after this. They would ideally come in at the end of this or the next lap at the latest, in my opinion. Otherwise, they probably just touching the tire too long, and the mediums will be quicker when they come out. And now we're heading towards Maggots and Beckett's, and with KDB having the DRS and not too far behind Prakhar Vats, I won't know if he's anywhere near being able to make that move. Of course, you can see at the bottom right, he's got no ERS to attack with, and I think this is just an incident. Yeah, Yashish Manohar has come out of the field and has spun and lost half of his wing, so unfortunate for him. And we're just looking at Mahaveer, Ragunathan here going through Brooklands and Luffield, and there's a traffic jam on the
I think all of them are pitting now. They've all gone pit. They're all the top 3 all diving into the pits together. The top 4, in fact, diving into the pits together. So all these guys now on completely different strategies at the moment. So I'm still waiting to see where Utkarsh is going to come out in all of this, because UK in fourth place at the moment. He looks like he put a lap before, so I wonder he just might be able to come out ahead of these guys at this point in time. But says he's in the pits. I'm a little confused, but there we go. They're all coming out of the pits now, forming a long train. So now the different strategy is going on, because uh, except for Utkarsh, who's now in third place, who's managed to jump Daniel. He's on the softs, and everybody else around him on the medium. So Utkarsh is going to have some phenomenal pace advantage as we go out of this, as we come out of these pits again. But Prakhar Vatt's now up in first place on the mediums now. But the next two there, between KDB and Utkarsh, I think Utkarsh is soft at 7, so he hasn't pitted yet. There's 7 laps, so he hasn't pitted yet. But we're going to wait to see as they all come out of the pits and settle down, where they all string out. But there is a safety car that has been deployed. So I'm wondering, there has been an incident behind, because Rajdeep Paul seems to have completely dropped out of this race, and the supreme leader has gone into the pits as well, who's 2 laps down, but a safety car not deployed. So and all these guys now, except Utkarsh, who's now on these old soft tires on new mediums, and I think safety car will probably be out for about a lap longer. So it's going to be pretty much a 4-lap dash to the end.
Yeah, all those guys who would have decided to go. Wait, are these guys overtaking under the safety car? What's going on? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, all those guys who would have gone that 1 lap extra on the soft tires or the medium tires onto lap 8 would potentially get a free pit stop and would make up all that time. And the safety car, we still do not know why it has come out, but yeah, it is out now, and it's gonna stay for, I think, another lap after this. And
Yep.
when it does, we will see action coming back out for this lead of the race, which is between Prakhar Vatt's KDB and the big man Joe.
And Daniel, because I think
Yeah,
well, UK is gonna fit, so he's not gonna. I don't think
yeah,
he's gonna go any
Daniel.
further. And it's good yeah. So it's gonna be between, and I think UK should have fit at that point in time, because Utkarsh at that point was in fourth place, was doing really well, but looks like he's just missed the ticket, missed the bucket, unfortunately, to get in that pits at the right moment. Because now when he does get in, and 4 laps with his field so bunched up, he's gonna lose huge number of places as he comes out. And of course,
He still hasn't been it yet.
yeah, no, he hasn't pitted yet, so he's still 7 laps on the softs at the moment. So, sorry, 8 laps on the softs at the moment. So, we're still gonna wait for him to pit, so we're still gonna wait for him to pit at this point in time. But the guys behind then, people like Mahaveer, Ragunathan, Yashish Manohar, Abhishek Dwaraknath, 8th, 9th, and 10th at the moment. So Yashish made a couple of places, but just not able to just not able to slice his way through the field. Exactly what we called. Like we saw the last time out when the PlayStation guys were playing this game, it was very hard for the guys who started off 8th to make their way through the field.
Yeah, obviously involved in many incidents as well. We did see Arjun Arun Shah make up most of their positions to end up on the podium, but Yashish Manohar has just been really unfortunate being part of that first corner incident or the first lap incident, and then he made a mistake and spun coming out of the field, and that's basically the reason why he's down in P10. Otherwise, I believe he would have been up there with KDB and the rest of the guys fighting up in the front and giving us a bit more of excitement at 7. Not that it's already giving
Well,
us a lot.
they've been giving us so much excitement through this entire weekend, out through this entire evening. But also race control, I've just been hearing that Utkarsh, who's in third place, is also pitted. So he's pitted early. It looks like he's made a really early pit stop at this point in time, and now it looks like he's up in third place. But he's gonna have the guys around him now, KDB, Daniel, in second and fourth, who are on those mediums, on much fresher mediums, at this point in time. So it's gonna be superb to see what they can do, because he's on slightly older tires, 7-lap all softs at the moment. So not very good to see. I mean, not very good in his situation. But if we're getting the data wrong at this point, and he is on fresh softs, then Utkarsh, that's an absolute masterstroke he's pulled, because he can easily get ahead of KDB and Prakhar Vatt, whose tires so much quicker than these yellow wall mediums.
Yeah, definitely. But now, as the safety car is ending, we're just gonna get back to some racing action, and Prakhar Vatt has already gunned it and is heading towards the
Yep, it
last
looks like he's
chicane.
gone through the Vale chicane already very early on. So Is that behind him? KDB having a big moment. A big hint of a big, almost having a tank slapper into the ball around Club Chicane, but hasn't lost any time there because in the front, Prakar Bats has slammed it and he's gone straight up. But KDB looks like he's managed to control it and not made too much of a mistake. But Utkarsh then in third place. Now on those softs, with all the mediums around him, looks like they're going to be a little quicker. But Utkarsh now hustling KDB for second place. I wonder if he's going to make that move done, and if he can get that move done in these next 3 laps, because we're going to have a 3-lap sprint on some supremely new tires on fresh rubber, and this is great to see. But big man Joe Daniel now in 4th place, not able to keep up with his pack behind them. He's dropping off a little bit on the pace now. I think he's made a little bit of a mistake with these cars at this moment. Sohail, the cars at the moment, so looking so twitchy on these tires, on these older tires, as he's trying to push so hard to close that gap to KDB.
Of course, two reasons that come to my mind. One, that either there's not a glitch on the thing, and he is on his lap number 8 or 9 as he's now on those tires, and he's really struggling on them. Or the other thing would be that it's the cold tires that come in after the safety car restart, because obviously these guys are not driving at full pace and it takes time to get these tires back up to temperature. But now he's really closed up to KDB, and we should see some action. And I think KDB is out of DRS range from Prakar Bats, so he will not be having any DRS, while UK will be having, obviously not on this lap.
Yep, and as you say, it looks like just as you're saying, it looks like Utkarsh closing up so much more on KDB right now on the soft tires. He's got a lot more edge grip on those tires at the moment, but KDB not putting up an excellent showing of defensive driving, and as they come along through the entry and the loop, they're going to go down to Brooklands and Duffields very shortly, but a DRS zone before that in between the two of them, and this is his time to pounce, because 2 laps more, you can see him, he's gaining on the inside, but down into Brooklands, just not enough. But now through Duffield on the outside, is he gonna go through? That's an audacious move if he makes it stick, and he's hanging that car around the outside, but just not able to, as they accelerate in full throttle to Cops Corner, and at 300 kilometers an hour. I wonder if Utkarsh on the inside shows them that little bit of a wheel, but it's going to be very hard to overtake. But now into Brooklands and Cops and now into Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel, it's going to be supreme to watch these cars through your high-speed corners. And Utkarsh now on those soft tires with the DRS coming into play down the hanger straight. I wonder if he's going to get close enough to get him into Stoke Corner, but he's just not close enough. And Daniel behind as well, keeping tabs of these guys. But up ahead now, Prakar Bats looks like he's scared off with 1.5 seconds into this, almost 1.3 seconds now in the lead. But behind them, KDB for second and third, the last 2 spots on the podium. A supreme battle between Daniel, KDB, and Utkarsh. And Utkarsh, a masterclass in strategy, who's now got the soft tires on, but it looks like he's losing a little bit of time now to KDB, so they seem to be falling off the cliff rather early with 2 laps to go, and that's letting Daniel now catch up to him as the mediums now come into play. So
yeah, now as they head towards the hanger straight, 7 tenths behind, really good opportunity for Utkarsh to go close in on KDB, and KDB is going to feel the pressure, because he knows that he's on the faster compound tire, and it's just going to be really fun to see what comes out of this. Just some carnage would be make it more exciting for me. I don't know how you prefer it, but
man, I prefer some good clean racing, and if they can get close to each other and overtake on pure done, that makes it more interesting. But just to his thing, it looks like Daniel will have to settle for 4th place, because he's just been handed a 3-second penalty, so he's not going to be able to, even if he does catch these guys, I don't think he's going to have enough time to make 3 seconds up over the course of 1.5 laps, because we are now entering the final lap of this race, lap number 13 on this 25% race, and all of them have now pitted. But Prakar Bats now supreme drive from the beginning, because he's held his nerve, held his ground, and gave it and took it to the supreme leader right up in the beginning. But as we go through Stowe, and then as we go through the Vale Corner, Vale Chicane, and then through Club, we still have on the last lap at this point in time. But I'm hearing from race control that Prakar Bats might have a 5-second penalty, and if it does, that means KDB would finish this race as your race leader, as your race winner rather, with Utkarsh then on that master stroke. 16 laps, that's right, because I don't think he's taken those tires for 16 laps, but on the soft, just not able to make any inroads then into KDB, because the kind of defense that KDB has been pulling is insane at the moment. But KDB is now on the tail of Prakhar Vats as well. There was about a 1.3 second gap between these two, but on the last lap, he's made this. On the last lap, he's gotten so much closer to him as they go into the last two sectors of this Ultimate Evo India Virtual Grand Prix. It's brilliant to see, because KDB now, Prakhar Vats thought he had this all clean, all covered, but KDB now giving him a run for his money. 3/10 behind these two into the fast Maggots, Beckett, Chappell. And as they go down the hanger straight, he's gonna have DRS for the first time on the last lap. I wonder if he's gonna get closer to Prakhar Vats. Prakhar Vats in front of him was weaving, but KDB looks like he got super close going into Stoke corner, but just not been able to overtake him. And as they come in the Vale chicane for the final time, he's just a little too far back to overtake Prakhar Vats. So we're still going to wait and see as they cross the line if there's a penalty, and it will be handed to him. But for the time being, Prakhar Vats then finishes in first place in supreme style. But I think he has a penalty, so he's going to finish on in second place, handing the win then to KDB. Krishanu Datta Boyan wins race number 2 at Silverstone, with Utkarsh in third place on those soft tires, brilliantly driven, with Daniel then in fourth place, the Gambler in fifth, Streeter in sixth, Mayank in sixth place, Vix in eighth place, Mahaveer Ragunathan, our special guest this evening. Thank you for joining us, finishing up in ninth place. But brilliant last couple of laps, Sohail. And the top three that we had, the battle, they gave us a top four, in fact, all through the 13 laps between KDB, Prakhar Vats, Utkarsh and Daniel. Absolutely supreme racing between the four of them.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to watch the first couple of laps before the pit stops and before the safety car. The top four giving us a really good fight to watch, to a point where they were almost 3 wide going into a couple of sequence of corners, and can't wait to watch this race again. Obviously, with more competitors, different competitors, with people coming up with different ideas, things I can copy later and and use them myself. So it'll be really interesting to see what these guys come up with.
For sure, because we've had this brilliant cast of characters, a whole full grid today that we had in our second race. Great to see these guys, because KDB, Prakhar Vats, Utkarsh and Daniel, you've treated us to some incredible racing all through these 13 laps, and I must say that racing was brilliant. There's brilliant respect between these guys, some supremely close racing, but with so much space given and so much respect given to these guys, and no stupid moves between them, but brilliant driving. And of course, driver of the day is the Streeter, made up a whole bunch of places at the back of the grid, so great to see him up there. But at this point in time, KDB winning the second race in the Red Bull, and unfortunately Prakhar Vats then having that 3-second penalty, dropping him into second place, dropping him down the order into second place. So brilliant to watch. But and yeah, guys like Ashish Manohar and what, we're sure we're going to see them again, because he is a race winner now at UltimateE Evo Virtual GP, brought to you by UltimateE and Evo India. And as they celebrate on the podium, what an exciting evening of racing we've had, Sohail. It's been brilliant watching these guys race. It's been supreme racing over the last 2 races we had, and of course over the evening of races, and over this evening, with KDB winning race number 2, Prakhar Vats in second place, Utkarsh in third place, Big Man Joe, Daniel in fourth place. These 4 guys giving us some superb racing and keeping us thoroughly entertained from this. And I hope you guys enjoyed this too. From UltimateE and Evo India magazine, especially with them giving us their prizes from their 100k MPH merchandise range. It's been great to have them on board. Thank you, Shri Chandran and team, for giving us the opportunity and coming and partnering with us. We hope you enjoyed the racing. And from the UltimateE team, from myself, Anjana Soul Shah, thank you for joining us, and good night.